This is Two Shy Guys a Mile High. Cue the damn music.
All my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice. That's why all my life, I've been grinding all my life. Look, all my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice. That's why all my life, I've been grinding all my life. Look, I'm married to this game.
Back from the past, we are back at you guys, Trash people.
Back at it.
What's going on? I'm your co-host, DJ Anzo Ivan.
Anzo the Great.
Here with my boy, our co-host, Uncle E.
What's up, guys?
Tell the people what's up, man.
Good evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are, to our tribes people.
Yeah. Because it's global now, bro. I was looking at
what's the global out here?
The stats, and we got some listeners in some places, man. So shout out to you guys. Welcome back to episode 9.
Yeah, we're almost getting done with the season.
Yeah.
One more episode after this.
One more season one more episode and then it's recess.
Back to recess again. We like our recess.
But yeah, today we got a special one.
Yes.
Actually, a collaboration that we deeply value and, has come to be one of the things we look forward to a lot in, the past few months. But we actually have three very special guests from the Seattle area. And I'm just excited about this one, man. How you feeling?
No, of course. Beyond excited. This is first of all, this is even not only having 3 guests. How lucky we are! First time we are actually collaborating. On our platform with another podcast.
That's right.
And I don't think we could have found a better one to start off with.
Yeah.
To really hopefully even just build like a good podcast relationship.
Exactly. If that's the word.
Yeah, yeah. So we're really excited. And before we even introduce, we just we highlighted in the last episode. We were lucky enough we got invited into their platform, their podcast. So if you guys listen to episode 8, we talked about it. And now, if you were wondering what they were even talking about and you didn't, go into it, now we brought it for you.
Yep.
To see why, we speak so highly of this podcast.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, without further ado.
Yes.
Gentlemen, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. Thanks, man.
Cool.
Y'all make us feel super special. I was like, I'm humble. God is good. You feel me? They talking plaudits. I'm like, I know they talk about WB.
Right.
Hold on.
Even like, who they talking about?
I'm starting to work on that, more positive self-speak, self-thoughts. My name is WB. We represent 2 Shy Guys a Mile High. We are 3 black men in STEM trying to win. You feel me? We trying to win with everything.
Yes, sir.
And we're trying to win and building collaborations too, and then building a podcast community, because the more we can build that as well, we can just grow it and expand it, and it'll be exponential growth. It'll be a wave and a drip.
You sounding like T.I.
I should use the big words.
Hey, no,
Expeditious. You know what I mean?
That's preposterous. How would you accusations that are be told?
If you learn the words, might as well use it.
I'm gonna leave the words to this, but yeah, I'm WB of 2 Shy Guys a Mile High. People call me Will.
Yeah.
I am a industrial engineer with a focus in data analytics, but mainly my main job, I am a product owner of an application. I work at Boeing. Been there around 11 years, 12 years now. It's been a real long time, and ups and downs of the wave, but we can get on to that a little bit later. That just lets you know a little bit about WB. Come fly with me. I'll talk about my background a little bit later. I just trying to let my co-host go ahead and get this.
Sweet.
Yes, sir. Speaking of, this your boy P-Wil. If you listen to 2 Shy Guys a Mile High, you would know me as Drip Chronicles. No, they call me Phil Wilson. If you ever want to reach out to me, but from Chicago, Illinois, been out in Washington for about 8 years, and also I work at Boeing Company with Will, as he just said. So I'm an industrial engineer as well. Currently a team lead on the spar side of things. Just left P8, so just continuously grinding over there. So right now I'm in charge of about 6 people on the team, just getting them introduced to industrial engineering, how to get data, how to produce it, give it to manufacturing, how to use that data to talk numbers and get up to different rates and stuff like that. So a little bit of integrated scheduling, process improvements, and things as such. And like Will said, I get down to more of about me later on once we introduce the last member of Two Shy Guys a Mile High.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Man.
Welcome.
Well, yeah, this is Al Digger. I go by Al. Just you guys, thank you for having us, first of all. And yeah, just coming to the podcast, I didn't know what I was gonna say and how to say it, but you guys gave us all the intro, so we'll just leave it at that. But
Perfect intro.
Just floaty intro, for real, floaty. But no, I've been out here in Washington for about 15 years. Right now, I'm a full-time father, husband, entrepreneur. I left corporate America for, I was there about 15 years, variety of roles, engineering roles, customer support engineer, electrical engineer, equipment engineer, program manager, but ended up meeting these two guys at Boeing, and of course, become my best compadres, my best friends. One's a goddad to our sons. I'm gonna shout out my new bride, Mary.
Okay.
So we just got married.
Let him flex it.
Yeah.
I mean, but you know, got to, man.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
you
You got that new car smell.
but I wouldn't be who I am without her.
Yeah.
You know, having her kind of show me some of these things that we talk about on our podcast as well. Just uplifting and trying to be a blessing to the community. So once again, we'll talk more about my background and as we get forward. But just thank you guys for having us, man. We really appreciate it. Really do.
No doubt, and welcome
you
to our platform.
Welcome to the Jola meets the Madi experience.
Yeah, thank you for sharing it
Yes,
with us.
definitely. And you know, just to even like Ivan, you know, before we even get started knowing more about them and go through our conversations, you know, what really makes me personally happy is just hearing them and their professionals, what kind of role models we have, as Black men that we should look up to. And want to learn from their experiences, their journeys, even as they're going through it. I feel like, even like for me, early career, even from when I was an intern, even from, let's say, meeting Phil at a Boeing gym, playing basketball, even from that early, that was a role model for me to look up to. Because you started seeing, so, when you're young and, let's say having an internship, 19-year-old intern, you're only a minority, right? And you after work you go to play basketball, but you see role models who are working at the company, they're doing great things, so it really gives you hope, right? It's like you have someone to look up to, say look at where they are, look at what they're doing. It inspires you. So and
I
just,
mean, to add on to that, I mean, it's what we talk about in the media every day is representation matters, right? It's like it doesn't matter how, is it being done, because if I'm in the gym and I see Phil, crossing everybody up and everything, I'm gonna be like, yo, I'm trying to be like him. You know what I mean?
And to add again to what you're saying, you see that, you're like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
But now, especially when you put it in a work professional environment,
exactly.
Now you're like, wait, Phil is doing this, but Phil's an industrial engineer as well at Boeing.
It's like he's more than what they're, they want him to be.
More than an athlete.
More than an athlete.
Right.
More than an athlete,
So,
because, we wander through it, right? We when we go to work, where you're underrepresented, that
definitely,
you feel like, okay, who's going to look out for me here, and you don't see people who look like you. So whenever you get to meet, people who look like you and, they're doing great things. And even if you're meeting them outside our work environment, it really gives you that, it motivates you to know that, okay, you can keep working hard, or, it's not only going to be you here. There are others who've done this before who understand your struggle and going through that.
That's kind of crazy. That's good to hear, because I need that word of encouragement right now. And it's what I took out of the whole thing that you just put down is who you can influence, just being you, just sticking to the script, staying in your lane. You don't know who you can encourage, you know what I'm saying? So I don't want to speak for you. That's probably humbling to hear that.
It's humbling and it's appreciative, because Hey, first of all, bring back the Oxbow.
Yes,
bring back the Oxbow. Man, that gym was
That was
just
a safe haven.
That was it.
Workout.
real
It's a
talk.
community.
That's where I met
I don't want
All
just
of
about
us.
everybody in there.
I had a bad day. Things ain't right at home. You feel
No,
me?
seriously, you can just go and just be yourself. Like,
Yep.
I think you guys touched on that, and I mean this has been the culmination of both podcasts of trying to be an example of what's possible, right? Like seeing somebody doing something, not in envy, like, yo, how did you do that, right? And like you said, having that role model of it's not all just what you see there, but go deeper. And like you said, he's an engineer, he's a hoop. You know, he's from Chicago. You know, you start to learn that as you get deeper and have these type of conversations.
It's a platform for
it's a platform for us to get together. It's a forum for us to actually get out there. And I mean, you can do whatever you want on the court, and then after that's up, hey, what's good with you, E? Hey, you been out here. I remember when you was an intern all the way to when you got the full-time position. And then just seeing you, I was like, a year went past, like, oh, dang, he back. What's good again, bro? I remember you out here.
Right, he made it through the phase one.
Exactly.
Come on back.
But no, I'm appreciative for you to say those kind words, and it happened to me too. So it's just like, you know what I'm saying, it's the paying it forward and the giving back, and you never know who you can touch with, you know, whatever words that you speak. So it's just good to see that representation out there. Other people that look, you know, we the same skin tone, so we got to look out for each other, because it's been countless times where we just walking around the gym and if I'm scanning the thing and I'm like, okay, what's good, man? How you doing, bro?
Exactly.
How you doing? And you know, I've never, like, I've had people like been with me from different races. Like, do you know him or something? I'm like, nah, I don't. But
right before we leave, I'm pretty sure we're on the same wavelength.
Yeah, we on the same wavelength. I don't know his background, I don't know his story, but I know it's something there that we got something in common.
There's a
with each
common
other.
struggle there of where do I fit in the grand scheme of my surroundings now. Like I can look at any black person, any black male or female, just even without knowing the history of Western culture. Like I can see, it's a lot going on. Like just from a racial perspective, right?
100%.
You know, so I know, like I said, I'm already connected with that person without even knowing them, because I can understand your plight by just we in there hooping. I'm trying to dunk somebody. I can't even dunk right now. But I'm saying I'm using it as an outlet.
Foot into the paint.
Oh, whatever, dude. But I got that wet jumper. I got that wet jumper though. But I guess what I'm saying is that I can already identify and relate to that person. And hopefully, you know, when we have that time to talk, it's like, okay, I get it. Yeah. Or we go our separate ways.
Yeah, they might have went through a struggle that I might experience as well in a different way.
Yeah, for sure. And talking about and keeping it in terms of, you know, stems and, you know, how we pursue our careers and the journey that leads us there. So we wanted to first know, you know, if each of you guys could talk about, you know, you talk about your hometowns, where you're from, in terms of what's led you guys into pursuing a career in STEM, becoming engineers, and what were the main influences you had, you know, growing up, your background. So just kind of give our listeners your individual journeys to become engineers.
Yeah. So once again, P-Wil, south side of Chicago, Riverdale area, born at University of Chicago Hospital. Just going in from a public school down in the south side, Thornton Township High School, Harvey, Illinois. It was just all black people there, right? It was not diverse or whatever. It was just trying to more so get out of the hood, get out of the streets. So my platform came from my parents didn't have any college education. So it was all about us, me and my brother and my uncle, because he lived with us since we were young, us getting out and experiencing something that they didn't have the opportunity to do. My dad worked at various gas refineries and steel mills, and he seen the things that engineers did, and he understood the type of work that they did because he was a team lead in manufacturing his own aspect. So he would see the things that engineers would do, because currently I do that now, so I understand now that it came full circle. But he would see the things that they do, and he could see, as me growing up and developing, liking to use my mind, liking to understand problems and complex situations and figure out how to get around that or how to eliminate roadblocks, how to analyze situations. If you're growing up in Chicago, you're already analyzing 360 all day, because you got to watch your surroundings. You got to know what's happening and how to get around and how to finesse, right? So he was just giving me the information about what engineering is and the aspects of it. So STEM, and then taking honors classes in high school. But like I said, and if you listen to Two Shy Guys a Mile High podcast, not understanding too much about education, higher education. When I was in high school, they didn't teach us that too much. And then going on into college, having that aspect, because you're breaking down colleges into engineering college, you got liberal arts and sciences, communications, all the different business, all those type of things. So I already had that background from my father teaching me, like, engineering is one platform that you can use if you're already interested in things like this.
Right.
So analyzing math, engineering, science. So I took a liking to that early in high school, and I was able to kind of guide myself towards that when I went to college, is having an understanding of what I was interested in and what I wanted to pursue. So that is, and then actually getting to college and being in I lived in a set house dorm, which was a science, engineering, technology. So they are more direct with teaching you, like in your dorm, they would give you pamphlets on STEM, what it is, different resources and outlooks you can look to within the campus, different organizations you can join to learn more about STEM. So we were handed out this information, and it was more so I was just concerned, and I wanted to actually make it through college, because it was like what my parents were trying to get me to do. Like, they didn't have the opportunity to do it. And then my brother went off to the Navy, and it was just like, okay, I want to bring home this college degree, make my parents proud, actually do something myself. And then that's how I got the ball rolling with engineering. And then I went from safety engineering to industrial engineering, and that's how I got into the IE field. So that's just a quick little grasp of P-Dub, P-Will, how I got into the STEM field. And it's just been good from there.
Bars.
That's what I'm saying.
Wow. Man.
At the time, though, was there do you think it was a conscious effort that you were making towards achieving these things, or it was like already ingrained in your head subconsciously and you just did them?
I saw my dad as a hard worker. So that's what gave me the fuel. Because at first I didn't see myself as much of going to college, because it wasn't just like heavily displayed in front of me. A lot of people weren't doing it. Like, you were making it through the streets first before you would go to college. But as I grew, and then also I had a son at an earlier age. So I knew that it wasn't just me at that point in time. So that's what gave me that extra encouragement and that extra fuel to actually dig into these resources, dig into the things that they were telling me, to tell me like, hey, okay, you got to do something else with yourself. Somebody's watching you. Somebody's looking up to you. You got to make something of yourself. And then I got to do that same thing, like going to college. And I got to preach that to my kid and let him know that he got to do better than I did. Well, that's what I want him to do. So that's what gave me that extra motivation, that extra encouragement, because I didn't have it at first.
Yeah. That's dope.
That's dope, man. That's amazing. That's dope. Hey, you need to say that, re-put it and put it on our stuff.
That's what I'm saying. P-Wil.
But this is WB. My name is Will Bradford. I was born in Detroit, Michigan, August 31st. I'm not going to say the year I get ready, but it's still Virgo season. So you know what I'm saying? Kobe, your Virgo.
Hey, happy belated to
Yeah, happy belated birthday.
Appreciate it. Born in Detroit, Michigan at Sinai Hospital, and spent a little bit of time there. And it was in 3rd grade when my dad had the opportunity to go ahead and get a promotion to move to Denver, Colorado. He was working with a company called EDS, Electronic Data Systems. They were a company that branched out of General Motors, but from my background and foundation, and positive influence has all been just my family. Like, my mom and my dad were heavily into STEM. My mom and my dad were computer science majors. My dad, they both went to Grambling University in Grambling, Louisiana. So from that perspective, that gave me a little bit of experience to know what HBCUs are, because I'm always seeing Grambling and Southern, and then these other schools. And I'll get to a little bit more of that later. But there's also my grandfather, who is a doctor, my aunt's an anesthesiologist, my uncle, who works in electrical engineering for Lockheed. So I've always had positive influences in front of me and around me to say that, push yourself further in STEM, do what you need to do. My aunt as well too. She's in the educational field, but she's a librarian. But I just was always fed and kept knowledge. And after we moved from Detroit, I went to Littleton, Colorado. I say Denver because most people know Denver. Nuggets and 7, by the way.
Nuggets and 7.
Nuggets and 7.
Please,
you feel me?
relax.
Please.
Relax.
I hope so.
I ain't gonna say too much because y'all ain't gonna have me looking out here looking like Skip Bayless
Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless. Oh, whoa, Skip. Let's Skip.
and these other people after they done left this.
I'm with Will. Nuggets and 7.
I'm not even gonna start.
Back on track.
Keep going with your story.
Yeah, back on track. Keep going with the story.
Yeah.
It's nothing but white people out there.
Yeah.
I'm about 10 minutes away from Columbine High School, where one of the first initial school shootings are. But my parents always knew that they wanted to keep me grounded and make sure that I kept my black card accepted everywhere. So we went to black churches. My dad always wanted to make sure that we had that connection with them. But it was a little bit kind of different because you always come from the suburbs to the city and it's like, am I black enough? Because I got people hating on me because they're like, well, you're well off, you're well to do. What do you know about the struggle? And then I'm not sometimes accepted over there, but I'm cool. I'm WB, come fly with me. So I could kick it with you. But it kind of gave me anxiety about who I really was at the end of the day and kind of being ashamed about who I was. Like, why am I ashamed of this? This should be really natural. And then on the opposite side, it's the white people side. I'm like, I'm one of a handful at all of my schools until I went to high school. I went to public schools, and then I went to Mullen High School, which is a private school, Catholic school, but that's when I started seeing a little bit more black people playing sports, football. So I played football all the way up through high school. And then at that point, when I wanted to go to school in college, I was like, man, I need to figure out how to get my black people university education from the standpoint of brokering relationships, networking, doing all the things that I want to do. I knew my mom and my dad went to HBCUs. The majority of my family went to HBCUs. So I knew what? I'm going to FAMU, Florida A&M University, Tallahassee, Florida, going down there doing my thing. From there, I started being an electrical engineer. I was well prepared in high school. Electrical engineer, I'm good. First semester, I'm starting off hot. Bam, I'm dipping, I'm dabbing. I'm going to the moon. I'm partying, I'm kicking it. I'm doing what I do. And then those major classes start getting into the way for electrical engineering. And I did not put enough time to be good at them classes because them classes are hard. Or maybe I just didn't have the brain for it. Maybe it was just a journey I had to take or God had to take me on to make sure that I found my right path. From then, my dad is helping fund my education. That's why he has my degree on his wall because he paid for it. He's like, son, you cannot be down here BSing. He's like, this is not cheap, bro. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, all right, I'm going to get it to him. He's like, no, for real. Because you about to come home. You about to get pulled off the stage like a Sandman, look like a clown. And I was like, all right, Dad. So I wanted to have something that stuck within engineering. Wanted to not be computer science because I'm named after my father. I'm the second, but I didn't want to follow his footsteps, even though I'm in his footsteps right now. But that's why I went industrial engineering. It was engineering related, and there's always able to keep a business side to it as well. I can see the presentations. I can make the different influences I need to do with the manufacturing process as efficiencies, the statistical part about it. So I'm like, all right, good. Shout out to my guy Prince. That's when I got a internship at Boeing. He went out, he balled out at the Kennedy Space Center. So cool. He opened up a door for me. I walked through that, came through looking fresh, did my thing down the Kennedy Space Center, and that opened my eyes. It was so cool seeing all the space stuff down there, seeing the shuttles, seeing the launches, being in the International Space Station Node 2. It's actually in space right now. I'm like, man, this is wild. Like, this is what it is? So I knew that I had to figure it out. From that standpoint, I applied to Boeing long term because I knew that the space shuttle program was dying. They're like, well, we're going to put up a new contract, new bid, whatever. I'm like, this ain't safe. So I applied for the 737 program, ended up having my interview, had my job offer, went back to school, finished up, I'm gone. And then from that standpoint, I've been out here ever since for 11 years. At first, when I started, I was doing more just process improvement related stuff on the factory floor, doing the time studies, doing the coordination between the engineering groups to figure out how to get a lot of the different changes implemented. But at the end of the day, my heart was in a little bit of that coding stuff. So I started getting better at the data, the metrics, the visualization, using Tableau, using SQL, whatever it may be, to produce a result, to make actionable data and make the process of producing the 737 more efficient, safer, cheaper, and more ergonomic. So it's brokered that into a position I'm in today where I'm a product owner right now. I'm kind of trapped right now because I like the product owner role because I get to manage the application. I get to find the requirements. I get to implement the cool stuff, talk to the people, figure out where the pain points are to help other people make their job a little bit easier. But I also like the coding stuff, so I'm kind of a geek, so I get into that too. Figuring out R programming, dibbling down with that, and then it's like, well, what hole do I want to go down? So I feel as though I'm at a justification in my career right now, which is kind of good. But it's during this whole time, God's been good to me. He's held it down. Met Al, met Phil, met E, I met countless amount of people that just helped push me along in the journey. Countless mentors that I've seen that helped me and extended that hand out to me, or even slapped me in the side of the head to let me know I'm tripping. I need to stay in line and get back to what I need to be doing. And I'm here today, and I'm just so thankful to be on the podcast too. So I know it was a lot, but hopefully everybody was able to understand my background and where I come from. Shout out to my wife, Miss S. Dot. She's been married a little over a year, growing too. So we got the new marriage spell on this as well too. But man, it's definitely been good. I mean, she went to school with me at FAMU, so if I didn't go to black school, wouldn't have my black wife, wouldn't have my black queen. You know what I'm saying? Wouldn't have this black diamonds on this ring. Bars. My baby, she be blessing me all the time, and I feel that as black men, we need to have the foundational black woman behind you. Facts. Or woman period, but like for me, black woman to understand what I'm going through, prop me up and get me to go, you know what I'm saying? Get me to make sure that I could be my Black Panther in life, and I'm my own superhero going out here. Rest in peace, Chadwick.
Wakanda forever! Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Appreciate that, Will. I got a quick question for Will. You talked about, the influences of having so many black professionals in your family, right? And just going up to your dad being an engineer, and you decided to take that journey, I'm guessing, on your own that, regardless of what my dad's profession was, this is what I want to do. So when you decided to even you went to MU, started studying electrical engineering, did you ever reach a point where you're like, was I doing this for my parents or was I doing it for myself?
Yeah, I did reach a point for that. I did reach a point a little bit because I was like, well, I was trying not to follow my dad's footsteps, but at the same time, now I'm in engineering and it's just not working out quite right. So did you do this for the right reasons? But at the end of the day, I think that I was placed in that situation to learn how to pivot, learn how to adapt, and to learn to keep grinding, keep going, and keep fighting. Just because I changed my major doesn't mean it's the end of the world. Some people don't humble themselves and make an adjustment to push them along where they need to go upstream. And I think that as I had to come to grips with that and figure out why I was doing this and what I really wanted to do and playing to my strengths, then it was just easier that way. I've always been good at math, always been high achieving in math. My dad is good at math. He's always taught me the proper way to do things. And for math, he's always helping me with my homework. So it was really ingrained in me about how to get good at these different things. And it just came natural to me. So I was like, all right, I'm going into the STEM field. Yeah. And I'm here where I am right now because of those steps that I did take to get there. And I'm starting to realize it's just the consistency of those small steps over time compounded to the points that where you are today.
Dope. And he said play to your strengths. So that's a good takeaway.
And just right before you go, Al, I want to stress we always talk about generational wealth and people tend to think about it in a monetary sense, but to me that wealth is actually an abundance in knowledge, right?
For sure.
Wherever it may be, education. You're a product of a doctor and an engineer, and Lord knows what was before that, but that's passed down, right? And you can see it just throughout the family where it's like they take that bit of what they've learned and they just grow a flower with it, and which is us here today. So
definitely,
I just wanted to highlight that so that people think past monetary.
It's not all,
it's
not all about that.
It's about what are you doing to make the next generation better and whatnot. So I mean that was.
You've seen two examples,
exactly.
From seeing hard work being shown by your parents that and just building that into you. That's a form of generational wealth, in terms of values that's being passed on. In terms of seeing, your parents, we all see it, and that we always, like you said, tend to think that, like my dad when I was 16 didn't buy me like a Lambo, so I don't have generational wealth. But if I saw my dad every day, got up, went to work, took
and
care
never,
of you.
And he was always on his P's and Q's.
He was always there when you needed him.
That's
generational wealth to me too.
That's a perfect segue into kind of the literally the origin of my own journey. And I have to go back to my parents. My dad is no longer with us. I mean, he had his journey and wasn't with us. He stepped out of our lives at age 3. So, I start off there with my journey in the 80s, with a little bit of baggage, right? My dad wasn't around. My mom, growing up in the South in the 50s, you know what I'm saying? She might kill me for saying her age. I love you, Mom. Shout out to Catherine. But to go back to what you guys were saying, it was her planting that seed at her age, saying, look, I don't want to live like this growing up in the South, you know what I'm saying? All type of critters and stuff run over it. Like, she's family of 9, you know what I'm saying, living in the South. You're talking about hardships right now. You know what I'm talking about? There was no internet back then, right? So all the stuff that you're seeing on TV is happening in those type of environments, and she has to make a way out of that. So that's where my story really starts. Just her sacrificing and saying, I want to bring some, like you say, generational wealth. I'm not going to let what is in front of me define my future. She said at 5, she knew, hey, I can't live like this. And if I have a child or anybody, I'm not going to bring them to this world, at a quote unquote disadvantage, right? I want to put them in the best position. So for her educational trek started then. I mean, so when she moved up to Chicago, I want to say in the 60s or so, that when her educational journey started. And so seeing that growing up, she went back to school while I'm going to school, so she's putting me in, private school. I actually went to Holy Name of Mary for grammar school, pretty predominantly Black, but that's where I really understood and kind of honed in on kind of the religious aspect and faith-based aspect, because obviously they talked about the Bible, things like that. But I'm a kid, I'm not trying to hear all that. I just like, okay, my mom's put me in this school. I'm not in the public school system at this point, which in Chicago, growing up on the South Side, it's not the best, public schools over there. I mean, there's some good ones, but so she tried to put me at least in an educational sense, wrap that around me, so I'm in a system that's going to at least give me a shot, but I still have to go and do the work. That's what she always told me. So, grammar school, I went to Holy Name of Mary. So, high school went to Brother Rice. Shout out over there. That what the crazy thing was, and I think it still is now. It was an all boys school, right? Like Jesuit kind of Christian brother school there. But we had the biggest all girl school in the nation next door. So that was the kind of the incentive as a young man. How my mom kind of sold it. Well, you know what? You can focus on your work. And then at the end of the day, you guys, they cheerlead for you, doing your sports, and you guys can hang out. So for me, I was like, let's do it. Let's keep it focused there, so that way I can keep my mind on the studies, because I knew that was the way out. Because she was showing me that education was going to be powerful. Because for her, it allowed her to get to a place where she could take care of me. She worked her way up to, I want to say, I think a director of the hospital, Roseland Community Hospital, if you know what that is. And it was in a really rough neighborhood, but we've seen changes through that area. But she was in there, and I saw that just kind of going to school, coming back after school, seeing her do hard work, and seeing her go through some of the things that we kind of go through now in corporate. I didn't understand it then, but I knew that she was shielding me from a lot of that stuff to try to put me in the position to where I can be right now, right? So going back to the high school stint, did that. I got involved with kind of STEM in that area because I had never even thought about like physics and things like that in grammar school. That was never taught to me. So when I got out of grammar school, that was a physics class that I kind of got into and started to excel at that. It was like, hey, this is pretty natural. I started to think about college, like Phil was talking about, like how can I take the situation around me, because gangs were prevalent where I grew up on the South Side. So, it was either that route, you know what I'm saying, be a dope boy, go out here, sell drugs, kill, look out for police, whatever. But education wasn't really talked about like that. So my mother knew that was a viable option, but she had to show through her examples. And so going in high school, seeing that I really took to math and science, that really was something that I excelled at. All the little standardized tests let me know that, there's something here. Yeah. Right. So I get, like you said, playing to your strengths. I kind of looked at, okay, how can I capitalize on that? If I like math, I like science, it comes natural, that logic, that reasoning piece. And so I looked at, how much do people make if they use logic? And engineering popped up. You know, just random. I'm like engineering, like engineer your career or something like that, right? I'm like, what is engineer? I'm thinking of, you know, somebody on a train, the conductor, right? I see engineer because of the perspective. I don't know that there are different disciplines of engineering. The engineering isn't a discipline, right? So understanding that, going through that in high school, I'm playing sports, doing that, but I'm like, yo, I want to make sure that I'm able to put myself in the best position because she sacrificed, right? Single black mom. I don't know how she pulled miracles to put me in a private high school. So I went to Brother Rice, and I'm thinking I got to repay her. I got to figure out how to do that. I got to at least try. So that was my why. So Phil had his why kind of early on. He was like, look, somebody looking up to me. Will was like, yo, legacy has already been built anyway. I'm going to keep on going with that legacy. So we, just to bring it all together, found a why to keep going through the hardship. And I think it was just those examples that we all talked about that really, when times got tough, kept me going like, hey, somebody sacrificed before me. And so for me, definitely my mother was the one that really showed me through that and through her actions. And so fast forwarding through college, I get a full ride to Illinois Institute of Technology for electrical engineering. Finished that in 2004. That's where I really meet the first kind of my African compadre. Shout out to David Ofori Amwa. Yeah, man, from Ghana.
He sounds good,
yeah, he's from Ghana, man. Just my brethren, man. Like literally over like 20 years, man. Wow. But met him there, and just similar stories, right? Of sacrifice from parents and trying to put their kids in the best position. And I don't want to take up too much more of the story, but ended up, getting a full ride. Graduated 2004. Came to work for Boeing in 2004. Did a slew of jobs there. Came in as a customer support engineer, risk analysis, equipment engineer, flight test analysis, flight test engineer. Then ended that career after 13 years. Went to Microsoft for a year and a half as a senior program manager, cloud and AI. After a year and a half, left on my birthday to pursue entrepreneurship full time with my new queen, of course, my wifey, Mary. And so now we have an in-home STEAM-based academy where we teach entrepreneurship, mindset coaching, provide childcare, also have a nonprofit where we also do community service work as well and partner with communities. And so just to bring it back, it's all about giving back. I mean, really. And then thank you guys again for allowing me to tell my side of the journey.
It's a lot of accolades in this room, man.
I know. That's what I say, role models.
Yeah,
it's not. We didn't get here by ourselves.
Yeah.
We know that.
Yeah, and that's a commonality too with us and our stories, where it's like, like you were saying, that precedent has already been set, and it's now your job to fulfill it and like pass the torch. You know what I mean? And
yes, sir.
That's like a huge commonality I'm seeing through like our stories.
No, yeah, for sure. And and I like how we've through our stories we're showing appreciation to our parents in terms of the sacrifices they've made, and the hard work they've put in, and it's not even just a don't disappoint them. It's more of an internal drive to show that you taught me, you showed me some values that that I appreciate, and I want to emulate that and grow up from that. So that's a theme I saw, and it's really inspirational for me just to hear all the stories.
I couldn't say more myself.
And for our question for all that, you talked about she's laughing. So in terms of when you more of in terms of your career, mention going into different positions and leading you to entrepreneurship. Could you tell us more about what your career goals and your personal goals, how did you align that into being an entrepreneur?
So I think I've always had a heart of service, right? I've always wanted to help people from an early age. I knew that growing up, but there's so many different narratives that get spent as you're growing up of how you can serve that need and that passion that you have, right? So they always tell you, what do you want to be when you grow up, right? Like, what do you want to do when you grow up? And you're supposed to know that at 2 or 5 or whatever. And so going back, I knew that I always wanted to help people. And so going into entrepreneurship, now I'm going to go from now backwards, knowing what entrepreneurship is and how it's just really problem solving, just at its purest form, understanding what is wrong from a consumer side. Like, how can we fill that gap there? Like, if you need something to be created, now you're able to manifest that in your mind and actually go partner with other people, which is the other aspect of what I liked. I love being around people. So going back to when I was younger, I didn't know that was an option. It was just, hey, go do something to make money, right? And nobody kind of give you this. You can be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, whatever. You just see what you see on TV at that time, and that was before the YouTube, before the Facebooks was right in your face with other things where you could pick something out of that. It was this, okay, if you're not a basketball player or if you're not playing sports or something, then how else are you going to get out of your situation? So, like I said, having those role models show me that. I think going through corporate, I realized that they're not going to give me that aspect of having my own freedom in that aspect, because I'm going to have to live by somebody else's vision, right?
Exactly.
I'm going to have to be, kind of glass ceiling by somebody else's value system, and so
you gotta produce somebody else's dreams.
Yeah.
And like hearing you say that makes me think the more that I'm starting to step outside of myself and view things, you doing what you do at work and solving problems and being good, they're giving you the skills to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You just
you don't realize it.
But when you start up like, I'm solving problems. That's how entrepreneurs make money, is solving problems.
Adaptable.
Adaptable, right?
The main difference is that they just have history, longevity, and more money. That's the
resources.
thing.
Resource management.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the definition of success, is how you manage your resources, even if it's at a small scale versus a big scale. My mother always taught me that too. I think that's the power of like your future. Like, what are you doing to manage the resources you do have? Not being a victim, right? Taking that and growing into what you can. But that was all learned. I can't sit here and say that I knew that growing up in Chicago on the South Side at that point. But at this journey, at this juncture now, we have the opportunity to kind of give some lessons back, and hopefully, that can help somebody who might be going through something similar.
He being shy, he ain't bring up his short music career.
Nah.
Oh. We got people clapping their hands and stomping their feet.
I did dabble in some music a little bit, man. I mean, and the funny thing is, you say that is now that our oldest is into music, I'm actually getting back into it, understanding that, because I love the production side of it, the mixing, the audio engineering piece of it. That's why electrical engineering was kind of, I stuck with that, because I felt like, if I don't make it as an electrical engineer, I can always do music production or something. You know what I'm saying? So it was a multifaceted kind of a route. And I think we talking about STEM. I think that was the power of STEM for me when I saw that. It was, this is another option
related to one thing.
Yeah,
it's a broad horizon of things that you can
it.
accomplish with the STEM.
What were you doing? Were you singing? Were you?
No, I was
producing.
I was producing and doing a little bit of MC work. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your stage name?
So I went by Illusion at the time. With hey, but I'm saying, I mean, Illusion, but it was a bit of a literary term. But now I go by Seance.
Seance.
Okay.
Seance, yeah. So
what's that representative?
So people would say I had a gift for gab, and so
you do
getting people to kind of speak up, kind of inspirationally. Like people say, you seance, you bring the spirit into the room. You're kind of doing that, but from a positive standpoint, where we're calling on our spirit to kind of to be here at this point. So I want all those positive vibes to be here, and so with that music, it's hopefully conjuring up those spirits of positivity. So that was the premise of seance. Yeah,
That's what's up. He did.
He snapped.
He did.
Can't say nothing after that.
I mean, you ask. I mean, because that's one of those things. Like a lot of people
awesome.
don't know. We dabble, but you never know what can happen in the future, bro. I mean, now technology is here. So
without you taking them steps, we don't even have an intro song to the podcast. So we appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Very nice.
Yeah, and you said your son is dabbling too.
Yeah, he's dabbling.
What's he doing?
So he's doing like artistry as well.
Nice.
He's taking like artist tracks and stuff like that. So I'm like, let me get up to speed so I can spit you some tracks and you can do your lyricism on it, and then we keep it in house and stuff. But that's
cool.
That's just something we gonna play around with. But you never know. So
that's awesome.
I mean, multi-layered.
There you go.
But just have fun with it though. I mean,
exactly.
I think that's the thing, right? Like people want to think going through the struggle, it's tough, but when you have a support system, and once again, thank you guys. This is fun, man. I mean, and we get to hopefully help wherever we can, and you guys give us the platform to come and share our stories now.